Trinamool Congress leader and MP Mahua Moitra has also dived into this debate. She's been writing about it. Appreciate your joining us, Mahua Moitra. You've written in a column this morning, India as a nation must see Atiq's murder for what it is, a descent into mobocracy. Now, critics will say that, you know, where was Mahua Moitra when an Umesh Pal is killed in cold blood, or Atiq had 100 FIRs, including several murders against him? Was that not mobocracy? Is this only mobocracy?
1 minute. There's a very fundamental discussion. Mahua Moitra is where Mahua Moitra was when Raju Pal was being killed. Mahua Moitra is where Mahua Moitra was when Umesh is being killed. And Mahua Moitra is where Mahua Moitra was when Atiq is being killed. The question is not where Mahua Moitra needs to be. The question is where due process, where the law and the police need to be. Please understand. Raju Pal was killed. Due process was followed. Atiq was convicted and is in jail. Umesh has been killed. Due process will be followed. What do you call it? Atiq was in jail when Umesh was killed. If he didn't fire the bullet himself, if he is responsible, then the trial will start. He will be convicted on that. He's already in jail. The question is not where I was or where you were. The question is the law of the land and due process has to be where it is and applied according to the law of the land. That's the fundamental question. The deeds of the deceased have nothing to do with how we are meting out instant justice.
But you might have heard Mahesh Jethmalani, who was on my show earlier today. He's suggesting, Mahesh Jethmalani is suggesting, why is it that the usual suspects from the opposition seem to only have a sympathy when the individual involved is someone, he says, whether it's Sohrabuddin Sheikh or it's an Atiq Ahmed, people who he says had long criminal records. These are not some people for whom you should be shedding tears.
You know something? I think it's very, very unfortunate that the honorable gentleman you mentioned is a senior counsel of the Supreme Court, and he says these are not, I am not shedding tears for Sohrabuddin, I am not shedding tears for Atiq Ahmed, I am shedding tears for a country and for a rule of law where an under trial who is guaranteed security by the state is gunned down in police custody by a third person. That's what I am shedding tears for, and I'm sure the honorable counsel, if he could just shed a saffron robe for once, if following in the footsteps of his illustrious father, would also appreciate the same.
No, you know, this is precisely the issue. The worry is that these, what should be seen purely as a legal issue is being now increasingly seen through political lenses. Whether you're on social media or not on social media, depending on your political biases, people are seeing what should really be seen as a failure of law and order, a failure to protect, as you said, someone who was in police custody. The problem is, because of this sharpened, polarized atmosphere, people will ask questions, will Mahua Moitra stand up and speak out just as strongly if tomorrow there is someone who, dare I say, doesn't fit into a particular political box?
Look, I am speaking up for the rule of law. It is the BJP and it is the saffron ecosystem who are trying to create this debate which is politicizing it. I wrote a column today in the Indian Express. Please read the column if you haven't already.
I have.
Nowhere have I mentioned that Atiq Ahmed was not a criminal. Nowhere have I mentioned that he's a Muslim and I'm shedding tears for him. Nowhere have I mentioned. All I am talking about is we cannot have a system where due process of law is subverted, where Article 21 guarantees us this. You have the Supreme Court in Sunil Batra versus Union of India 1978 laid out that even convicts, let alone under trials, have the right to due process. So while this man is in police custody, he is being taken to the hospital. If a third party comes in and guns him down, whose fault is it?
No, but you're already suggesting in some way, ma'am. No, Mahua Moitra, somewhere you're suggesting complicity of the Yogi Adityanath government. That will have to be proven by investigation.
Okay,
when you, for example, quote Yogi Adityanath's comment saying "thok do" or "mitti mein mila denge," somewhere you're suggesting a connection.
Rajdeep, exactly. You are saying that Mahua, you are suggesting Yogi Adityanath has a hand in this killing. You have to prove it. Similarly, if the state of Uttar Pradesh was suggesting that Atiq Ahmed had a hand in the killing of Umesh Pal, then they had to prove it. And the way to prove it was not to gun him down in cold blood or let him be gunned down in cold blood in front of live cameras. The way to prove it was to prove it the way they proved it in Rajupal, was to drag him through the courts and through due process and convict him. Since I cannot say Yogi is involved in this without proving it, the onus is on me is far less. The onus of the state would be to first investigate, then file a charge sheet, then run through the due process, and then convict him if need be.
Yes, but he's
got
also
life in
someone.
one case, if he had to have death,
but
he would
he's
have had death.
Okay, but he's someone, Mahua Moitra, who over the last decade and 2 decades and more has had political patronage. Judges at times have judges at times have even refused to hear his matters. As a result, the number of people whose lives he has taken, whose land he has grabbed, almost felt helpless in case of a justice system that they had lost faith in.
One second. So what did you, can you just go over what you just said, Rajdeep? You're basically saying that the justice system failed us in front of Atiq Ahmed, so the state should take justice into its own hands.
No, I didn't say that. I'm saying that there are those who are the victims of Atiq who are saying that.
1 second. They are victims of every gang rapist. They are victims of every murderer. Bilkis was a victim. Bilkis and 14 members of her family who were killed by 10 people who gang raped and killed them were also victims. Are we not going through due process, or are we taking these Sanskari Brahmins and gunning them down outside the Gujarat High Court? Please tell me. The second thing that we're talking about here is that as far as Atiq was concerned, the irony is that the Uttar Pradesh government said that this man is a menace in Uttar Pradesh. He is running his little cartel inside the jail. We need to shift him out. The government said he should be shifted to another state, right? He was in another state. When the government was bringing him back in order for investigation into the Umesh Pal case, the Uttar Pradesh government said that this is a very dangerous, high-risk prisoner. Even the police is at risk from him. So we need very high-risk armed police to bring him back. Please contrast that as a very high-risk prisoner who's been put in somewhere else. He then comes back to Allahabad, which by the police's own admission is his own den, is his own lair. Once he comes into his own den, where he should be 10 times more dangerous, the police are so lax that only 17 policemen take him very loosely into a hospital, that too outside, and inform media persons who are allowed unfettered access. Is this how you deal with a high-risk, high-security prisoner who is at risk to the own police?
So are you in conclusion, let me ask you, will you have faith in the investigation that the UP police has ordered, the fact that the NHRC has now sent notices? Do you have faith in these institutions or not? Mahesh Jethmalani suggests that many of the critics don't have faith in any institution.
1 second. I am not here to answer what Mahesh Jethmalani says or doesn't say. That's not why I'm on your show.
Yeah, but
I'm here to tell you what I think. I'm here to tell you what I think. And this is very clear. The fact that the police did not ask for police custody of the killers who shot him on live camera and instead accepted judicial remand means that they have no investigation to do. They have no questions to ask. They have no investigation to do. What does that imply? They either know everything about the murder or they're not interested in knowing anything about it.
Do you have faith in the NHRC and the other institutions that have asked for a full report? And ex-High Court judge to order an inquiry?
Under the Modi government, who is the head of the NHRC? Who is it? Justice Arun Mishra. What did Justice Arun Mishra say? He said Mr. Modi is the guiding light of and the beacon of I don't even know what. So under the Modi government, most institutions have been completely subverted and they are being ruled by puppets. I have faith in the judiciary, I have faith in the Supreme Court, I have faith in the courts. But it must get to the courts.
Okay.
We cannot have the police either gunning people down as they did his son, or we cannot have police supervising a system in which other people come in and gun down under trials while in their custody.
Okay.
That's the problem. Please get it. The deeds of Atiq have nothing to do with the fact that he was killed. Then we should have no law. Please disband the courts. Please let us be like Saudi Arabia and say, if you steal, let's put you in the public chorahe and let choraha and cut your hands off. There's nothing wrong with that. Why don't we accept that? Why do we have a rule of law? Why do we have the courts? Let's
so
you're
also saying that this has been a murder of the rule of law. We've got two views that we've heard two views therefore, Mahua Moitra and Mahesh Jethmalani. I appreciate you joining me, Mahua. Thank you so much.